All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are, as you can see on the loading screen for our next series, it is going to be between GameTime and TANGTANG. It is going to be a best of 3 in the semi-finals, and of course the winner of this moves on to the grand finals for that shot at the $60 for first place and $20 for second place. Loser walks away with $10, but here we go. We are going to be spawning down here in the bottom left-hand corner of the map on top of the yellow Zerg player. Give it up for the North American GameTime.
And on the bottom right corner, he is our red Terran. I believe is teamless. He is TANGTANG. A lot of fun with that name.
Very orangey. But this is like the first normal series I expect for us to see today. Like, we've just been following rough.
I feel like that's been the new normal for me today. So now this is going to be like a weird game.
What? He's going for an expansion and going for just Marines and making medevacs?
You know what? Yeah.
What? I don't understand. They've all been ZvZs too.
It's like, you know, stuff like that. So the cool part is that I really like the fact that since Ruff kind of has that very very unique style, watching another TVZ, it's going to be like a whole nother matchup.
Yeah, it's going to be like, okay, cool. So we haven't really seen any of this matchup today. We're going to jump into it. I definitely agree with you on that, though. I do have a more normal opening from TANGTANG. Gonna go for the Reaper opening, throwing down a command center. Although one thing I will say about GameTime, again, is that he knocked out a very, very strong player earlier. He knocked out Tails, which, I mean, that's actually kind of crazy.
Yeah, like a player, I mean, I assume a lot of people don't really know that much about GameTime. You know, you like, wait, did Showtime change his name and why is he playing Zerg? But no, this is actually a North American player. He plays Zerg, has been for a while, and has been having a lot more success lately, or at least in these online cups, I would say. But
I would say it's him and Peely Peely. It's actually, okay, so the way that I always think about things are, we have like these online tournament champions, right? The players who are just like signing up for everything. They're everywhere in every single online tournament you look at. And like that used to be Hyun, right? That used to be Hyun's thing. And then it kind of eventually got, like the title got passed down to Bly. I think that the title currently belongs now to Peely Peely, who's just like everywhere. And I almost kind of feel like GameTime is kind of like the next in that lineage, because GameTime has just been playing in so many online events for a long time, and he hasn't really been winning them. He's done like okay in some of them, whereas Peely Peely is actually starting to like just straight up win a lot of them. He won the Chairs4Gaming Cup yesterday, but I kind of feel like GameTime is like the next step in that.
okay, so always good to see some new blood. Oh, as a Zergling just died. I didn't mean it like that, but I mean, I think it did die. No, it didn't die. Just
none of them died yet. Just a lot getting very low, though. I definitely agree with that.
So, yeah, here we go, though, actually. Excuse me, here. I'm trying to see here what TANGTANG is setting up for. He's making a Widow Mine, actually, out of the factory that does have a tech lab on it.
Ooh, but TANGTANG, well, he moves into the main base. He doesn't see that the layers at the natural first blood gets called on the Reaper, but TANGTANG is clueless about the 2-base layer tech. I mean, he maybe knows that there's no third, but I don't think he checked the third for a while.
I don't believe he did. So he doesn't know, but I mean, seeing the layer that early, you can assume that it is going to be something like that. He wasn't able to at least see the Roach Warren, so it's not going to potentially be that Roach Nidus. I don't know if he was able to see the gas, though. Well, that's all.
Scans and sees the Spire, too.
Yep. Going to be able to see exactly what's going on, and he's going for a Marine medevac drop here that does have a Widow Mine in there.
Has the potential to get some nice damage done. There is a drone sitting over the third expansion, and if that third expansion, if the Marines go straight over there, they could actually get a cancel or even kill off that third rather quickly. I don't think Stim or anything is going to be finished up for a while, since he hasn't really even gotten, just finally starting up Stim for researching, so. Oh, almost doing a little bit of friendly fire over there on the medevac.
Yeah, that would have been pretty bad, and that layer is going to come into play here to allow him to have that Overseer here, so he does take out the Widow Mine, and that doesn't actually do too much damage.
Yeah, game time I feel like is sitting in a pretty nice spot. I mean, obviously this hasn't really been all-in aggression or anything from TANGTANG, but looking to trying to get a little bit done. He finally actually sieged up with a siege tank and these marines. This could get a little bit scarier over here as game time doesn't really have a whole lot besides zerglings, and actually it's only just 7 zerglings out on the map. His 3rd expansion might get canceled.
And that's a big deal. I love the fact that he was able to identify that it was a 2-base spire and really punish it here, because the only thing Game Time wants to do right now is save up all of his larva and gas to make mutas. And I don't even know if 8 mutas are going to be what he needs to actually deal with this. I mean, yeah, he might be able to get some economic damage done, but this is the issue that is at hand. If he goes in with everything, maybe so.
Here we go. Marines are starting to push on forward, and again, like, this is uncommitted aggression from TANGTANG. Losing a siege tank, that definitely obviously is less than ideal, but as long as even trades out relatively efficiently, killing off a Mutalist or 2 over here would be really nice. Looks like he's not focus firing those guys down. Doesn't want to lose the Medivacs either, though. I mean, it starts to go a little bit better for game time, but still losing and having such a late 3rd is really, really rough for him.
Yeah. And I forgot that he didn't have stim by that time either, so it's like you're gonna have these non-combat shield, non-stim Marines dealing with mutas. And that's definitely gonna be enough, as you did see them just clean it up pretty easily.
These Mutalists may even be able to, I almost actually feel like they're in decent, I mean, 8 Mutalists may be enough with no SCVs repairing to take down the missile turret. There's not a whole lot over here for TANGTANG.
No, there really isn't. A lot of that was in the push, and with stim done, +1 will be done very soon too. I love the fact that he did knock down those rocks, buys him enough time to at least get these units out, and he stims in, and he feels like he can deal with this, but that's actually not that many Marines.
It's not, but the Mutalists do take a hit from the Widowmite the last second. Now actually engaging directly against the Marines, ends up losing a chunk of them, or at least 2 or 3 of them. Overseer even might get picked off.
And it is going to go down. There is no Overlord speed. But something that is very interesting here is that we are seeing Rain's attack in the Roachborn here at a game time. And it wasn't even like the Roachborn was there for defense. He went for the mutas to open it up, and then he's going to go right into what looks to be Roach Ravager. And TANGTANG is setting up to what would do really well against Lingbane Muta. But if he starts skipping out on that tank production, then he's going to have a bunch of these, Marines and Widowmines that don't necessarily do too well against Roach Ravager.
Yeah, especially those Roaches and Ravagers are able to get up to 1-1 upgrades. Those Carapace upgrades just add so much to the Roach defense against Marines. But the Marines are going to be pushing out well before that. Got to knock down these rocks. I mean, he knocked down his own rocks. They're both buying time for these pushes. Yeah,
the action against these rocks have got so much action this game.
Justin Browder would be so proud.
He would be. Look at this, but that's a lot of Marines coming out here, and 1-1 or 1-0 is already done. I don't think 1-1's going to be done here for game time. He needs to buy a lot of time, and he doesn't even have a big Ravager count. It's basically pure Roach. And the Mutas, so the Mutas have to fight.
Mutals don't really want to be engaging directly against the Marines. They want to be trying to just focus fire down the Medivacs. A couple of Ravagers in the mix as well are definitely going to help out. And it looks like game time should have more than enough to defend over here, as long as TANGTANG doesn't start lifting off, moving units over the natural, and start dropping at the same time this aggression happens.
But the good part is that he has the mutas out, so game time, he can at least follow the Medivacs. He has good enough creep spread that he can get decent vision. So now this is the revelation to TANGTANG that it is going to be indeed Roach Ravager. And I wonder if he's going to switch up any of his production, if he will go into tanks. He stopped production on the Widowmines completely, but that doesn't mean that he's going to stop production on like his Marines, because obviously they still do well against Roach Ravager, but you do need that AoE, I feel like.
Yeah,
Liberator is going to be how he does it.
Oh yeah, Liberator is going to be also a kind of interesting decision, as they are pretty effective regardless of the composition. But I mean, Mutals do fly straight over the army, end up taking all the losses over there. Got one Corruptor in the mix to maybe try and take care of some of these Medivacs eventually, slowly but surely. A lot of Ravagers in the mix, should be able to take out the Liberators as well.
Oh my goodness, yep. And here you have it.
Oh my god.
Push here with 1-1 complete. TANGTANG, I don't think he has enough, and he's not even dropping at the same time, so he's just basically trying to fight for his life right now.
I think that game time's got this. I mean, he's got so many Roaches and Ravagers. He's more than doubling the army supply. Almost 80 supply ahead right now. Game time upsetting first versus Tails and now versus TANGTANG. This is really impressive showing.
Yeah, he's gonna go right on in, take the game, GG. And a really nice decision to go into roaches as opposed to a more traditional Ling Bling follow-up. I think what TANGTANG was expecting, like the fact that he had those Widow Mines continuing in production, and then the aggression right after, like that push, you're not gonna have Baneling speed most likely that quickly.
Yeah, that really was a push designated at target and like dealing a lot of damage to a Mutalisk like Ling Bane player, as you were saying. And I think just he got caught so off guard, and I think that also at that point, like he was so invested into going for that attack, he was like, well, you don't have exactly a lot of like Banelings or Zerglings or anything like, or even that many Mutalisks, but I'm here, like I have to do something with this army that I've made, so like let's try this. And it did not work out at all. Even though the Ravager count was really high, enough to deal with any of the Liberators that were sieging up.
Yeah, that was definitely well played at a game time there. TANGTANG, I liked his build and how he had that continued aggression in the beginning. He even got a cancel on the third, but when the Mutas came out, he ended up even losing the tank there. Like, didn't get out of there in time. He was just like, I think I can get more damage done, but the Mutas cleaned up everything.
Yeah, but that does mean we move on to game number 2 in this best of 3 series. Again, very, very close to just seeing game time. Maybe move on to that grand finals. That would be pretty crazy.
Yeah, no, that actually would be. It's like getting through this. I mean, how has his bracket been too? Like you said, he has already had to beat Tails.
Had to beat Tails, had to beat Matisse, who's actually a fairly decent player as well. And even had to beat the flip side of Tactics Academy player, Kel. So, well.
Oh, so there's an actual Kel now? So there is a
Keenan Kel.
Oh, man.
All right. Well, here we go, ladies and gentlemen. We're starting it up on Dust Towers for game number 2. We'll see you guys there. All right, ladies and gentlemen, here we are in game number 2, spawning up here in the top left, or sorry, top right-hand corner of the map. The blue Terran player, give it up for the Korean TANGTANG. Sitting down 0-1.
Yeah, very aggressive play, by the way, but didn't work out because of this player stopping it in his tracks. It is our yellow Zerg player. It is game time.
You know, what was really interesting to me about that last game especially was that it was aggressive play with all the drop and everything, but he just ended up losing a lot to that with that drop play, right? He almost looked like if he had did not knock down those rocks earlier on in the game, I think he just would have died to the big counterattack. Like he would have lost his third or taken really substantial amounts of damage to like the Lings and the Mutalisks, but he was able to buy enough time because Lings and Mutas don't really take down rocks very quickly. So he was able to get the defense.
Oh, no, I wanted you to finish your thought.
Oh yeah, I was just gonna say like he was able to get up the defense, but I kind of feel like a lot of that game will go back to the drop, doing some good damage and canceling the third, but I don't know if it was really worth it in the end.
Yeah, I think initially he was trying to kill the rocks on game time side, so that game time would have had to go through the first rocks and then the second rocks. And he doesn't actually have that weird kind of fight in the middle where he loses the Liberators and, you know, like his initial thought at least. So that didn't end up working out for him. And then also it was maybe like the little greed of trying to get a little bit more damage against the base meta player when he was going for third command center anyway, where it's like you already set up as a Zerg player when you go to base meta to... It's on you to do the damage there because you're giving up the economy. If you lose your third when it's like 3/4 of the way done, that's like already it's, you know, Terran's wet dream. Or it's like, okay, I'm set up to be pretty good here.
Yeah.
But we lost everything, man.
All right. Well, we do have a 3CC build coming out right now for TANGTANG, so he is going to look to play it a little bit more macro oriented this game. Not going to go nearly as aggressive as early on as the last game. And I think that might actually work out a little bit better for him. Also adding on additional barracks. So maybe going to try and get up that stim and combat shields before really worrying about getting out of medevac. This really is going to be a rather passive game, I think, from TANGTANG. And even game time also not going for the 2-base Spire play again.
No, he actually pulled out a gas too. So very, very Heart of the Swarm-esque opener where he's not even going for the overlord speed. He's not dropping the roach. Well, he probably might drop it at like 330, but sometimes you don't even go for the roach warren, you know, and you just decide to deal with whatever the early aggression is going to be with just pure queen.
Yeah, definitely makes a lot of sense. Double engineering bay coming out from TANGTANG. Yeah, I think that both of these players are really just like straight up, let's macro this game out. This is Dust Towers. We can both grab very easy third expansions. We don't have to worry about it.
Yeah, for sure. Getting the double eBay kind of like solidifies that. There's not going to even be any tech coming out of TANGTANG until his next 100 gas. And that's not even, I mean, that's going to go to upgrades actually. So yeah, look at this. Stim and upgrades. Not even a factory in sight.
No, this is like, who can play greedier in this game? That's like what this game's kind of coming down to. And so far, I've actually got to kind of hand it to Game Time, because even though, let's be real, like 3cc before factory, throwing down the double engineering bay before factory, like throwing up like your tech lab to get up stim and everything before factory, this is all pretty greedy. Game Time's gotten away with 2 Zerglings this entire game. Oh, sorry, no, he did make 6. He made 6 Zerglings. Okay.
But also, this is when he goes for his upgrades before the layer 2. So like this is almost like standard link. This is what like TVZ used to look like.
Yeah, that's actually a really good point.
Witness this.
Like I remember back in the day, this is like Ness T style of. I remember he would try and get away with only 2 Zerglings, and he would just like rely on good creep spread and all this other stuff. And he wouldn't make any units, and he would actually even get his Bailey Nest fairly late. And I think he would have usually, like, if things went his way, the big push would come in at 10 minutes. And that's when he would start to make units. And, like, not a second before then. This almost looks like a similar style where you get out a couple of units, and it's like, okay, cool, I got enough for a Bailey Nest, and hey, you're not attacking me. I got some scouting Zerglings. Let me go for a 4th now. Let me get up my, like, get up whatever tech for my lair also.
Yeah. I mean, I think you were right too. He even got the lair before the Bailey Nest. So if there were to be any kind of crazy push, Game Time would have only had a few queens and only lings, not even Bailings. Like say it was a Hellbat push or something, then he just dies to it. But you know, the way that it worked out for both players, it means that TANGTANG is probably pretty happy, I would say, depending on if he knows how to deal like in the mid game, late game. Because, you know, Lingbane Muta hasn't really been as effective lately. So if he doesn't completely stay in the heart of the swarm style mindset, then I think he's actually going to be in a pretty decent spot. I do feel like Terran does a bit better nowadays against this kind of composition. Yeah, especially if you're mechanically solid.
Do you feel like this number of barracks from TANGTANG is larger than normal?
This is like the.
I'm not a Terran expert.
No, I think this is perfect. I mean, it seems that way only because of
the layout.
How many explode? Yeah, like it literally was a barracks explosion, and then all of a sudden you're going to see ridiculous amount of marine production for the rest of the game.
Yeah. Well, ridiculous marine production is exactly what we're going to be seeing, and he's going to try and move in with just a handful of marines. He can again afford to give these up because both of these players have had ridiculously strong early games. Game Time does have a handful of Zerglings and Bailings, going to be able to easily force a lift up over here, and kind of really close to that lift up, but just rallies more units across the map. This is really setting up for a very scary, I would say, just a rally push across the map that TANGTANG can actually put the pressure on with.
Yeah, it actually is basically a parade push, but Dust Towers is a pretty big map. So, you know, maybe we'll see how effective it is. He's actually setting it up here. He does have Widow Mines in production, so he's not skipping out on this AoE. Well, and this is what we've all been waiting for, right? Don't you guys miss some Lingbane Muta?
It's pretty solid, and I mean, Game Time seems like he's taking some pretty good engagements over here. The Mutals making sure that TANGTANG can't lift up his units, and most of the units are actually stimmed to death, so they're dying very quickly without the Bailings. Just the Zerglings enough to take most of them out, and Game Time may just be overcommitting a little bit over here as he's now engaging against fairly full health reinforcements.
Yeah, well, he's just going to continue with it.
wow.
The mutas are in a still decent number, and there's no bunker at the third either. However, yeah, losing all of those lanes, didn't have any banelings with them.
Yeah.
And I guess it just wasn't enough of an overwhelming force to completely roll over TANGTANG.
Who was
And that's because of the
pushing who?
ridiculous amount of barracks that he had, I guess.
Yeah, seriously. I mean, that production definitely helping out quite a bit. And he's going to continue to just rally across the map. I mean, yes, he took a lot of losses to his army, but his Marines, Marauders, and not even the medevacs were really going down that much. So, yeah, he didn't lose any medevacs. So he actually can just continue to do that push.
Oh, and this is good. He's starting to snipe mutas.
Oh.
He can trade Marines for mutas like this, but GameTime's fourth has not been touched. And a lot of the times, you know, the fourth base was a big point here for the Terran to try to deal with. But look at this, man. This is just crazy macro out of both players. They're both on top of their game.
Yeah, Infestation Pit is also going down behind us, even getting up a Spine Crawler or two, I think. GameTime just preparing for the potential of drop harassment. And GameTime is once again over-pushing a little bit. He does back up a little bit earlier on. And what I would say, I think, is the biggest thing to note is exactly what you were talking about before. The fourth has been untouched, and it just goes to show that all of his engagements have been happening at the center of the map, and that's not where TANGTANG wants to have them. TANGTANG still actually has to go through some of the creep. I mean, GameTime has been taking a lot of these engagements off of creep. Once he actually starts falling back and taking engagements on creep, it's going to get better for him.
Even better, yeah, you're absolutely right. No creep was killed this day, really. I mean, he even scanned there. But GameTime, he just protect his creep. He's not trying to have to put that back down. He wants to only focus on injecting, making Lings and Banes, and keeping his muta count as high as possible. And he's doing a damn good job when it comes down to that.
Yeah, still has 15 mutas alive, and they are sniping off the medevacs, target firing them down, takes out a couple more, and TANGTANG is still forced back. I mean, GameTime, I will say the only thing is he's lost a lot of Overseers, I think, this game. 3 Overseers only, but 210 Zerglings, 120 Marines. That's actually a pretty even trade.
Yeah, I mean, the trades have been really good. Even looking at it,
oh my god,
they both lost nearly even amount of resources. But the scariest part is at the Mutaflock. Whoa, GG! He just couldn't break them.
Yeah, I mean, TANGTANG was falling pretty far down in supply, I think. In GameTime, takes a 2-0.
Gonna just completely show that he is a very, very strong mechanical player. You know, he's actually showing 2 different styles in both of those games. And he didn't really skip a beat when it came down to it.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
That was a really, really solid showing from GameTime. So he secures him spot in the grand finals, netting himself a minimum of $20 as he's going to face off versus the winner of Neeb versus, who was it? Ruff in a Protoss versus Terrans. Doesn't even know what matchup he's actually going to be playing. But ladies and gentlemen, we're going to hop to a short little break while we get that series set up. Really, really fun, awesome games in the Chairs4Gaming stuff. I want to remind you guys there is going to be another Chairs4Gaming event tomorrow or immediately after Corsair Cup. Once again, BaseTradeTV was just like, hey, we have 3 days that we can just do stuff. There's nothing else to do. Let's like run some stuff. So we decided to do them all like back to back. So, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be back in a little bit. Please do not go anywhere.